Hello and welcome to the first of my Skillshare series on Sketchup Pro. My name's Dominic. I currently work as an architectural technician. I graduated from an English university 2 years ago, I believe. And due to the fact I am currently in isolation due to the COVID-19, I thought I'd make this short series on how to use SketchUp and get your work into a good level of proficiency. This is certainly something that I wish I would have known when I was at university, as I felt it could have saved me a lot of time. And it's just little tips and tricks on how to get a good level of a model and get your ideas across correctly, whether it be to your teachers or whatever, or whether it be in professional life. So obviously if you're in the UK, a lot of the time you'll be using millimeters, but it's up to you to select whichever is the best. So you've got millimeters, inches, centimeters. You need to decide on which one is the best. Today we'll be using millimeters, as we'll be just talking about the basic controls. And what we're going to use here is I'm going to quickly talk you through each one, how to use it, so that you can work to a good level of proficiency. Okay, so the first tool, select, very basic. You can select an entire object by dragging over it, or if you double click on an object and keep clicking into it, you can select individual lines. That's the basic tool. It's just basically how you use your mouse. Erase, very simple. Drag over it, or again, you can select individual lines if you're in this group, like so. I should also point out that if you hover your mouse over each of these, shortcut for undo, close, paste, etc., etc., is all there. So next tool that you need to use, line tool. This is very simple. It's going to form the basis of your drawings, should you need to, whatever you need to draw. Line tool is very simple. You need to pay attention to the red axis, the green axis, and the blue axis. If you click, that's the start of your line. If you want to draw it parallel to the red axis, the horizontal axis, it shows up red. If you want to do it to the green axis, it shows up green. If you want to do it to the blue axis, which is the vertical axis, it shows up blue. So for the point of this exercise, we're going to hold it on the red axis. Don't left click again. So you've clicked once to begin it over here. Just hold it on the red axis. Type in 1,000. So it's 1 meter, and it shows up in the length in the bottom right hand here. So again, hold it on the red, type in 1,000, and it draws a line that's 1 meter long. If you now hold it onto the green axis, type in 1,000 again. There you go. It's drawn another line 1 meter along the green axis. And then it remembers this code. So you want to draw another line that's 1,000. Click, click, and there's your square that's 1 meter squared. You can also, the arc. The next command is the arc. This is very simple. Line, line. There you go. So again, you click where you want the first line, and then if you want to draw it along 90 degrees, here it is in the bottom corner, type in 90, enter, you got a 90-degree arc. This works for all angles, so there, type in 280. Oh, sorry, I didn't click it. 280. It draws an angle, an arc that's 280. The rectangle tool, very similar. So you want to click wherever you want to start the rectangle, and if you want a rectangle that's 3 meters by 1 meter, you type in 3,000, 1,000. Again, looking in the dimension section on the bottom right hand corner here, click enter, and there you've got a rectangle that's 3 meters by 1 meter. You know this because you can click on the tape measure tool and measure it, and it comes up in the bottom right hand corner here, 3 meters by 1 meter. The next tool is the push pull tool. This is fantastic for extruding objects. We'll be using this countless of times throughout the course. Again, this is only a basic introduction. So going back to this square is 1 meter by 1 meter. If you click left click on the item and drag it up, don't left click again, so I don't set it. I can just move it with my mouse here. Type in 1000 again, and now you've got a meter by meter by meter cube. This brings us nicely onto the next tool, the offset tool. The offset tool is used for setting a line a certain distance away from another line. So you might just use this to separate different skins of a wall. So if you have a brick layer, a cavity, and then another brick layer, you can easily set 100 by 100 divide between that. For this tutorial, what I'll show you is if you click on the face that you want to set it on, don't left click again, so you can drag it up and down with your mouse. Type in, for this tutorial, 250. Comes up in the bottom right hand corner here, the measurement, and that has set a 250mm offset around that square. Again, you can tell that with the measure tool, 250. What we'll do now is use the push pull tool, select this face of the square, and you can now see that you'll be able to drag and extrude it as you please. What we'll do for this is, now that you've left clicked on it, if you drag it all the way back and hold it on this line here, if you left click on that line, it sets the square that was there to extrude all the way through and end on that line. And because it's a negative extrusion, it's essentially deleting the center of this square, this cube, sorry. So that's how to use that tool. The move tool, I'll just delete this rectangle so it's out of the way. The rectangle, the move tool, sorry, very simple. You can select an item. If you want to move it 2 meters to the right, type in 2000 and it moves it 2 meters to the right. You can also use this to manipulate an object, so that when if you select an object using the select tool, and you by selecting it in that way, you've selected everything on the right hand side here, including the face. You can use the move tool to select that face and move it along by 2 meters. So that's another way of extruding without carrying so much detail. We'll click undo by clicking Control Z. Again, that might be slightly different on Windows. The rotate tool, you need to select the object, and wherever you place the rotate tool with your left cursor, that is the datum point at which the object will be rotated around. So if I left click it over here and I select this point as the beginning point, it will rotate along this center point here where I'm holding it. So again, right at the center of that protractor-like figure. So I'll undo it. If I want to select it, if I want to rotate it in its current shape and its current size, select, place it with the left cursor, select, and then rotate it. You can use it by just rotating it along that protractor, or you could type in 90 degrees so it shows in the bottom right corner, click enter, and it rotates. You can do that again, select, red axis, 90, rotate. You can also rotate it the other way, so anti-clockwise. If you select it, click minus 90, it rotates the other way. The scale tool, very simple. you again need to select the object which you want to scale, and then when you scale it, these are all the different axes which you can scale it about. So you could scale it, if you want to make it twice as tall but not twice as wide, select the top point again so that it comes up in this bottom corner. Blue scale 2, it makes it twice as tall but not twice as wide or deep. If you want to make it twice as large, if you just want to scale the item by 2, select the corner, drag it up, type in 2, and now it's twice as large. Again, the way you can check this, we originally started with a 1 by 1 by 1 square, 1 meter. It will now be 2000 mil, 2 meters. The text tool, very simple. A click to start it, a click to finish it, and then you can double click on the text. So text, test. Then when you click off it, it will stay in place. I'll delete that for now. The paint bucket tool, this is for adding colours, materials, textures, etc, etc. What we'll do for this is we'll add a brick texture. So you just simply click on the brick and then click on the face which you want to apply it to. If you want to make an entire object a certain texture, select tool, select all of it. You might have to click on the paint bucket, sorry. And it makes all of it one colour. The orbit tool is just another way of using the scroller in the middle of your mouse. Sometimes it makes it easier to use, so you can pan around an object as you please. The pan tool is especially useful when you are doing doing work such as street scenes, where you just want to move the view along slightly but not zoom in or out. So the pan tool, click on the pan tool, grab, and you can move along as you please. The zoom tool, very simple, zoom in and out. Again, that is kind of another way of using the scroll wheel. Zoom extents shows everything in your model space that you've designed. So if I copy this object and paste it over here, so you can see there's another one over there. If I'm zoomed in and go zoom extents, it shows the full extent of what is in my workspace. This can be especially useful is if when you import a drawing from AutoCAD, if you have a stray line that is far away from the actual CAD file, so if there's a stray line in the distance over there, sorry, it's not worked. I'll do this another way. If I copy that and paste it right in the distance, so now we've got a little square right in the distance. I obviously wouldn't know that when I'm working here, but if you go zoom extents, you'll be able to see there's an object up there. Quickly delete it, click zoom extents, and you're back where you're working. The 3D warehouse is an extremely useful tool. This is basically a database of models that SketchUp users throughout the world have created and uploaded to the internet for you to use. Detailed models such as windows, furniture, chairs, cars, trees, plants, everything is on here. Full models of houses. It's a very good place in starting your search should you need to add more detail to your model. So what I'll show you how to do is just quickly download an item. So if I type in a car, one that I know there is, that I've used before, often what I find useful is sorting it by popularity. This shows the most popular models first, and generally they're more useful. So if you just want to import a car, we'll go for this one. You have to make a Trimble account, load into model, OK. Depending on the scale that the units which the creator of this model has used, it obviously might load in at a different scale. So this car is obviously out of proportion in our model because the woman here, which is to scale, is as tall as the tyre. You can obviously alter this using the scale tool. You can get it roughly to size, so that looks about right. It was obviously scaled twice as big. But that's just a really good way of adding further. The extension warehouse is a database of programs that you can programs and plugins which you can download to aid you in making your SketchUp models. We'll go into that in a later video, as it's not especially relevant for the basic user, but it is extremely beneficial for someone who's slightly more advanced. Center layout, again, that's layout is a separate program that is a means of presentation, so that when you've got a completed model and you want to print it off, or you want to PDF it and present it to clients, you would send the model that you have made in SketchUp, send it to layout, and layout is basically the layout tool of SketchUp. Extension manager, not particularly relevant at this stage, and that kind of concludes the basic tutorial on the basic tools of SketchUp. I should add, there are obviously dozens of more tools that we will get into as we get more in depth. These can all be found as you click on Customize Toolbar. 100 different tools showing shadows, for example, all of which can be added to your toolbar and use as a quick means of access. We'll kind of venture more into these later on, but I hope this tutorial has been relevant. I hope it's been informative, and I hope it's been fairly fast paced, because I don't like skipping through videos myself. Obviously stay tuned for further videos. I'll be aiming to upload at least a couple of times a week. So this concludes video 1 of a beginner's guide to SketchUp. Thank you very much.